Introducing Viltrox's Z1 Vintage on-camera flash. 7 levels from 1/1 strength to 1/64 strength with a recycle time of 3.5 seconds. Has a color temperature 200K north and south of 6,500 Kelvin. Has a flash mode of manual. It's not a TTL, very important there. Its flash count is between 400 and 10,000 times. It charges through a Type-C connector at 5 volts, 2 amps, and takes about 50 minutes and is 116 grams. Now this little flash fits on all Z cameras. You just buckle it into the top as you like and you tighten it down with the rubber ring there till it's nice and tight. Then you've got to turn on your camera. Once your camera's on, you want to do 2 things. First of all, make sure we're in flash mode. To do that, you go to the photo shooting menu, you go down to flash mode, you go across and you make sure it says fill flash is on. Then, and here's the tricky one, here's the one that you think, why is this working? It's so hard to focus. Then you want to turn live view on your mirrorless camera off. What? That's why I got it, to use live view. No, bear with me. If you go to D7 on the custom menu, it says apply settings to live view and you want to turn that off, because to see them through live view on your camera means if you have your settings anywhere in the sensible, the ISO has to be bumped up to 128,000. But if you want to keep your ISO at say 100 to get nice crisp clean images, but you still want to focus, you won't be able to focus unless you have live view turned off. Turn off live view and all you need to do is set the flash according to what the light meter on your camera says. Now it'll require a little bit of mucking about. Like if you're in a pitch black room, you can turn it up to full tilt 1/1, but if you do that, anything close like this distance would just be completely blown out. So you have to start using it. When would you use 1:1? Well, you go outside. And when you're outside in full daylight and you still want to smash something with a flash and really bring it out of the shadows, looks amazing. And you can do it with this. You turn it on here and you have the settings here. Now on the back, it has this green light. The green light, when it says green, means we're charged and ready to go. When this is red, it means we're charging up, and you can fire your camera all you like, but you won't get any flash out of it. Now, if you flip it around to the side, you've got 2 interesting settings. First of all, you have off. It comes in off, and off just means, well, the settings are off, but the settings, the S1 and the S2 aren't settings. It's slave mode 1 and slave mode 2. So that becomes important when you take this off your camera. It becomes triggered by this flash. You use S1 or slave 1 when this flash is on manual. You use S2 when this flash is on TTL. And TTL does a pre-flash to help the flash know what the camera's going to do so that it can bang out a flash, and that's why S2 over here catches up with what's going on and fires the secondary flash at the same time as this primary flash goes off. Now, if you have any sort of reaction negatively to flashes, I would just advise you to look away at this point. But what's going to happen is I'm going to shoot this camera with this flash, and it's going to register on this little red screen, and it's going to flash, so you're going to get double flash. So let me just make sure I'm not lying. Are you ready for this? Ooh, come on. Now I'm going to take a couple of photos with it, talk you through how you can get the most out of it. But if you put it on, say, a larger camera that you might have that has a large lens, what happens is if the lens is at 24mm, so the photo's at 24mm, it will create a slight shadow here on your photo, right? Because this little part of the lens blocks the light. If you go wider than 24, say to 28, even though it extends the length of your lens, it doesn't create a shadow. So good to keep in mind if you're using a big lens. But this is the 24 to 70 S 2.8 that lives on my main body that I shoot with, and because it's not high enough, it will create a little bit of thing there, but you can simply erase that. Just go into 28mm and stepping back a little bit. My advice would be to shoot on a shorter lens such as a prime like this, and obviously this unit, watch this, looks glorious on the ZFC because it's a vintage camera for a vintage flash. So that setup looks pretty epic, right? And you just charge it through the USB here. There's no USB cable with the device because I'm sure we get tons of these cables that just float around. So if you haven't got one, you'll need to get one. The price is this, $49.99. Just come onto the market right now. If you love it, go get it. I have really enjoyed this. And if you want a handy little like option for flash, both off camera or that you can whack on a camera at a party, you want to put a diffuser on this, just use a bit of baking paper. Just tape here, bit of baking paper over there, tape there, and it'll flash and diffuse the flash even more, give you really nice results. And now let me show you just a couple of things with the images. These are the settings. I like to shoot with 1/200, 2.5 on this Viltrox 40mm lens and the ISO at 100. And you'll see it's one stop under. Now, if I increase my shutter speed, I just want to show you what happens if I increase my shutter speed to over 250 and I take a shot on full flash and then I preview it like this, you'll see that one, it's blown out, so the flash is too strong, but you see that line? That's because the shutter isn't quick enough. So you have to shoot under 250 of a shutter speed. So if I shoot at 200, we'll do the same thing and we'll have a look at that photo. See, the line down the bottom is gone. So just keep that in mind. Don't shoot faster than 1/250. Now let's shoot at 1/250 and you can see from the light meter that I'm shooting one stop under. So I'm going to go to the weakest setting to accommodate for a stop. I'm going to focus because we've got live view off and I'm going to shoot that. Then we're going to look at this and it's exposed correctly and the detail in the eye is kept. So when we're sort of this close, we're within 1.5 meters and I'm shooting on 1/250, about 1/64 will do. Now, Zoe's going to move back for me. And as she moves back, I'm going to go from 1/64 to 1/32. And I'm actually going to go to 1/8. I'm going to see if that makes a difference. We shoot that. And as you can see, it exposes quite well. Pretty happy with that. Now, we're outside. It's a pretty overcast day. It has been raining a lot. So we're going to go into a shuttered area now. So this is darker. And as you can see, the light meter's freaked out. So I might shoot this at, say, 1/4 flash strength. And I'm going to focus in on that, shoot that shot. And as you can see, it's still blown out. So I can actually dial back 1/8. And you can think, well, if you're shooting in a party, for example, that's 1/8. Let's go to 1/16. That should be perfect. And it gives you that feel that you want with a flash. And as it said, it's daylight. So the setting that it gives and the flash that is a middle. It's not a freezing cold, but it's not very warm. That's why Zari looks a little bit pale there. Now, normally, if I wanted to shoot this without the flash, if I put an auto ISO, I would have to shoot at 2500 ISO. And I'm just going to do that. We're going to compare. Well, I take that shot and we zoom in on that. And that's not too bad, 2500. But if we're in a much darker setting, let's go to a much darker setting for a moment. This is insanely dark, and if I didn't have my live view on, you can see the autofocus is just struggling and trying to work out what is going on. So we're going to have a crack at this. I'm going to turn the flash on. We are going to go to 1/2. I'm going to put my ISO down to 100, and we're going to shoot this. And let's see how we went. So that's blown out. If I go just down to 1/16, take the shot again, that's still too much. So if you're at a party and it's dark, you still wouldn't need it on full flash. You'd actually keep the full flash for the times when you're, there we go, perfect. Well, it's a little bit blurry, but that's because it's actually too dark in here to get any sort of focus at all. And so I actually need to increase my ISO to auto, and even then it's just too dark in here, isn't it? If I put my eye against that, I can manually focus, and then I'd be all right to have a go. Thanks, Viltrox, for sending this to me. Brand new release. Really stoked. Feels good in the hand. Feels easy to navigate, and it's got some really cool features that are just really exciting for you to get into. Hope this review's been helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. After you like and subscribe. Good to be back. Bye.